This quick video where I'll guide you through adding a water spigot or outdoor faucet anywhere in your yard and how to set up drip irrigation for your garden beds. I'll walk you through all the necessary components and make this process easy to follow. Recently, I constructed a new garden area on the opposite side of my yard, and in this fresh space, I want to add a spigot that's under pressure for a garden hose and drip irrigation, all without the hassle of having to run a large hose across my lawn. Now, before we dive in, a quick note: I'm in a freezing location. At the end of each season, I'll be blowing out these lines before the cool weather hits. If you're aiming for a frost-proof line, you'll need to dig a trench below the frost line, employ a self-draining yard faucet, and you want to drill a hole into your foundation to access the water line inside your home. For a tutorial on blowing out your lines, you can check out my other video down below. So let's get into it. The first step involved digging a trench. I found that removing the existing sod, placing it on a tarp, followed by the soil, made the process really easy. Next, I used PEX-B 3/4 inch tubing. I used 100 feet. It tended to recoil after I uncoiled it, so I used clamps to secure it from start to finish. After laying down the PEX, I covered it with soil and then replaced the sod. And a quick note, I'm not digging very deep. While I do have some foot traffic in this area, I don't have any heavy machinery or excessive weight on the ground. Depending on your situation, you may need to dig deeper. If you anticipate heavier traffic or machinery, exercise caution when digging. And remember, I'm not digging below the frost line because I'm going to blow the lines out before the freezing temperatures. For the faucet, I'm using a 3/4 inch SharkBite faucet that easily snaps into a 3/4 inch copper pipe. This pipe is then attached with SharkBite elbows. I'll cover how I attach the PEX to the house spigot shortly. Now, these SharkBite brass fittings have a 25-year warranty, and you can bury them. However, SharkBite says you must wrap them in silicone tape to keep that warranty, to keep the contaminants out and to prevent corrosion. I'll put a link where you can find this down below. Now, for cutting the PEX, it's important to note that you want to make sure that the cut is very straight. When cutting PEX, it's best to use a special cutter, which I didn't have. Then you can use a PEX depth gauge and pipe deburring tool. This allows you to mark the pipe or tubing so you know how far to properly push it into the SharkBite. It also deburs the outside pipe and puts a slight angle on it to allow for a snug fit into that SharkBite fitting. Alright, so I marked where I want my faucet to be. So I'm just going to cut the copper right there. Okay. There we go, clicked in. And another thing, these SharkBite fittings are fairly expensive. If you have one of those crimping tools, the crimp fasteners are much more economical. If you're finding this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. We have a lot more gardening videos. Next, I'm fastening it on to the inside of the fence post about waist high. And I'm also using some copper clips to secure the copper piping. Moving on to the attachment to the house spigot. Since this will be constantly under pressure, a garden hose wouldn't be the best idea. So I picked up this SharkBite braided hot water heater connector. This fits perfectly onto the 3/4 inch PEX. To connect the braided hose to the house spigot, you'll need a thread adapter. This adapter converts it to NPT thread to hose thread. I'll provide a link below on where to find this. It took me a little bit to figure this out, so I hope these links are helpful. Also, to prevent backflow, a backflow preventer should be added at your home spigot. All in all, this portion of the project cost about $110, and I'll put links to all the items down below. Next up is the drip irrigation. I've been using DripWorks.com for years on my existing beds. They reached out to me and asked to test out their new raised bed garden kit, and I must say, DripWorks is the easiest to work with. Their documentation is superb, and I was particularly excited about this kit because it came with a new timer that can be programmed via Bluetooth, and I've been using it all summer, I'm making this video right now in the fall, and it worked perfectly. The raised bed kits is perfect for my new install because it includes everything you need to get started. It comes with the 1/4 inch micro tubing, 1/4 inch soaker drip line, 1/2 inch main line, barbs, elbow fittings, goof plugs. Here you can see I'm attaching it to the filter, to the pressure regulator, and then the mainline adapter. This is everything you need to connect drip irrigation to your spigot. I also purchased a lot of additional parts because I'd like to add headers and shutoff valves on each of my beds. I also need more mainline, emitter line, and other parts because I have 8 large beds to install lines on. I'll be following this exact plan from DripWorks. I'll put a link down to the website to this plan and other plans, and the only difference is I'll be using shutoff valves on each bed, which I like because if I don't have something growing in that bed, I don't have to waste water on it. Now, if you have any questions about drip irrigation, post them down below and I'll help you out. Also, if you decide to buy from DripWorks, use code OBGardening with my links down below and you'll get 5% off your order, and I'll get a small commission which will help out the channel. So here I am attaching the main line to the pressure regulator. From there, I'm adding all the T-valves and elbows to each bed and digging trenches to bury the main line. For smoother assembly, consider warming up your irrigation parts. On cooler days, lay them out in the sun or use a lighter. This makes them a little more flexible and ensures the connections are snug. Exercise caution when using a lighter. Just hit the main line quickly with heat and that'll soften it up and it will go into the connector much more easily. And there you have it. This is what the beds look like once everything's installed. This is a straightforward project that you can do in about a weekend. This portion of the project probably cost about $300. The reason is I had a lot of beds and I needed a lot of elbows and T's, a lot of different parts that added up. But if you have a few beds, you can get away with this garden bed small irrigation kit that I showed you previously. And without the timer, it's $90. With the timer, it's about $160. I really like how this project turned out, and I hope these details can help you on your gardening journey. And if you have questions, post them in the comments below. I'll respond as quickly as I can. But before you go, let me introduce you to an invaluable tool for garden planning, Plan My Garden. It's a service that streamlines the entire process, providing you with custom plans tailored to your needs. Link in the description below. Enter your zip code, draw your garden layout, select what vegetables you want to grow and how much space you want to allocate to each. Check out, and then we'll send you an email with a PDF that has a visual schedule for each vegetable you selected, a getting started guide, a grow guide for each vegetable selected, and your garden layout updated with optimal plant placements for maximum yields. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next video. Check out our other high quality to-the-point gardening videos like the one on the left, how to build a raised bed, and the one on the right, which YouTube thinks you might find the most interesting.